So for our final social justice presentation, I decided to choose the picture of payball and the D&E sectors that live on the hill. I believe that this was a great picture to represent the things that I saw and felt and discussed in Peru, and the way that I could connect it to the way and things that we have discussed while being back in the United States in our classwork. In this photo is the fact that there is no green space for anyone to grow any fruits and vegetables. How are these people able to access the food that they need to plenish their bodies and their children and their families if there's no green space to grow any food? I believe that, as you can see, the overcrowding is an issue. If they are having immigrants come from Venezuela and they have taken over 1 million, where are these people going? As you migrate in, you're going higher and higher up the hill, which the access to healthcare and produce are going lower and lower down the hill. And I think as Payball is doing a magnificent job of trying to help with the resources and the lack thereof, I think that it is still not the dream that we dream for all of these people to have access to healthcare, because some of these people are not able to make it down the hill if you're elderly or you're pregnant and things of that nature. And not all of these people can make the time slots of the physicians that they come and visit, and the travel down the hill can be just as dangerous for some of these people that are trying to seek medical attention. That live on the hill are typically found in the D and E classes. As the class system works in Peru, it is A, B, C, D, and E classes, as we have upper class, lower class, and middle class. So these people on the hill are very overcrowded, as we stated about the immigrants that are coming in and squatting on the hill with them. But there's no fresh water, no running water, and no electricity. This is causing an issue because there are no bathrooms, and although Payball has introduced dry toilets and given this the best case scenario, this is still not a way that these people need to live. That are contributing to these issues not being solved is the lack of education and the lack of health literacy. If these people don't know what they need to take care of their bodies or plenish their bodies, how do they know when something's going wrong, or when they need to seek medical attention, or when they need to start making the trek down the hill? I believe that the lack of government aid and lack of financial resources is another issue. I think that if the government would step in and help to provide running water or aid in electricity, that these problems could very quickly reduce. They wouldn't go away, but I think that they could reduce to a very minimal, and that as a community, everything could then be taken a step further into solving these problems. But I think the government has what we call the distance of the other, where, as Beaucamp and Childress stated in our course problems, that they are not able to sympathize with the D&E sectors that live on the hill because they are living in the A classes, and these governments don't have to experience this kind of living, so they don't know how to sympathize or how to use the resources to help. Situations, I think, again, we could send some medical attention up the hill and to start making this a priority of ours. I believe that we need to spread the education of what fresh produce is, and that we could start at something like the Happy Worm up here in this community to get a sense of pride and a sense of community, and to teach better lifestyles to these people so that they can remain healthy, their children can remain healthy, and that they can start being educated on what to do to help their community and those around them. That I see, and that we all experience some of these issues in the U.S., and that they're just not as drastic as we see the overcrowding and communities like this. I think that we see more homeless people on our streets. Samantha and I talked about on our trip that we really didn't see any homeless people throughout Peru. We just saw communities like these that needed help, but they were helping one another. And I think that, yes, there are similar problems in the U.S. of people having lack of access to produce and people having lack of access to healthcare, but I believe that this is more here it all is at once, rather than we ignore the person on the corner of the street and we ignore the veterans that need our help. And I think that they're very similar, but we don't want to address the problems going around us because we believe that everyone wants to live the American dream and that we all should have access to healthcare, and that we all do, but the problem is that we don't. And we very, very often see these issues, but we as people in the United States, again, do the distance from the other that we see the government doing to these sectors, that we don't look at them as the same moral status if they're homeless, or we do not treat the oppressed with the dignity that they deserve. When we talked about in one of our discussions a night after we spent some time in this community, that people are trying their best, and that you never truly know what they're going through. And I think that that's something that I've taken away from our Peru trip, is that everyone's trying their best. No one wants to live in this situation. Everyone wants to have access to healthcare. We truly all want the same things, but we don't know how to get there. And so I think that I've started with not taking things for granted that I already have is for things like, we had the discussion of eating organic chicken. We don't always have the choice of eating meat in general, as you see these people, where are they getting their food from, and just enjoying some produce that I have and being able to share that with a table community. As we've been back, I helped work in a garden that we can share the produce with like the Lord's Kitchen, a place that served the needy. And I think that coming back from Peru was very big, that I just need to be cautious of like the way others live. And I think that I need to reach a helping hand out, as I said, stick my neck out to help somebody else. I think it started to help me live minimally, that I don't need to go out to eat every week, and things that are luxuries to me that aren't as common for other people, that I haven't taken for granted, because I can share that meal with somebody else. So I can cut my spending of 3 meals a week out to 1 and go share the other 2 with someone else. And I think that that has been something big for me, and that I want to help reach out in healthcare in other countries. And working through Matthew 25 in my internship this summer, I've started sending medical supplies over to the Dominican Republic and Haiti. And I think that that has just been huge for me, to see that I can lend a helping hand somewhere else.